Welcome back. President Biden's approval rating has been underwater since October. It continues to worsen. We have new Fox News polls this morning finding only 47% of registered voters approve of the president right now. His ratings are negative on the top issues. 52% of voters disapprove of Biden's handling of COVID. Another 54% disapprove of his foreign policy. 58% disapprove of his handling of the economy, and a whopping 59% disapprove of his job on border security, which, of course, is non-existent. Joining me right now is Matthew Foldi from the Washington Free Beacon. Matthew, it's great to see you. Thanks for joining us. Your take on bad policy creating bad outcomes and causing Americans to lose faith in this leadership.
Well, good morning, Maria. And we see here that President Biden's approval ratings are falling faster than the stock market right now. And the administration's solution is to tell people that they should grab a margarita if the supply chain will allow it, and go kickboxing if the gym is even allowed to be open right now. So it's no surprise to see that on everything ranging from immigration, economy, education, COVID, border security, to his foreign policy that makes Neville Chamberlain look like a strong and resolute leader, that Americans are souring on him. And I think that this is really just the beginning of a continued downward spiral for him heading into the midterms this November.
Yeah, I mean, that was really what a comment from Jen Psaki saying, you know, go home, have a margarita, go kickboxing, and then come back Monday being ready to fight. That's what they're focused on, fighting on voting rights, Matthew. I mean, Joe Biden continues to talk about his voting bills. I think they're dead in the water at this point, thanks to the Republicans and two Democrats. But not focusing at all on the issues that are important to Americans, like inflation that is spiking, like the supply chain crisis that I'm being told from CEOs that it worsened at the end of the year, and we are going to have a tough 2022. Look at this Fox poll, shows 1 in 5 Democrats say Republicans should do a better job. The Republicans can do a better job on the economy, crime, immigration, and border security. 85% of voters say they're extremely or very concerned about inflation and higher prices. 81% said that they're concerned about higher crime rates, Matthew. We're talking about murder at multi-year highs in major Democrat-run cities. And Joe Biden and the Democrats are still talking about voting issues which are not even existent.
Joe Biden would rather abolish voter ID, even though he doesn't have the votes to do that, than do anything to keep Americans safe in the face of a crime wave that Democrats are incapable of talking about because they're incapable of solving. So you're exactly right that his priorities are completely out of whack. They would rather continue making every Democrat walk the plank to vote for bills that we know won't happen because of bipartisan opposition. Then they would rather than solve anything like passing a CHIPS Act that would help address the supply chain crisis, which we were told by this administration was only due to Christmas shopping. And yeah, so they have no solutions other than to keep trying to pass bills that we know won't pass and we know will exacerbate problems that Americans are actually concerned about across the political spectrum, like inflation and rising crime.
So Matthew, where is this going? What are your expectations for the midterm elections in November, and then in 2024? Who will be the candidate on the Democrat side?
I mean, look, at this point, it's a race to the bottom for Biden and Kamala, so it'll be interesting to see if either of them leads the ticket. But I think that this is, heading towards the expected red tsunami this November. And I think that Biden's approval rating actually has a long way to drop among Democrats as well, because you'll see moderate Democrats across the country see that the administration's priorities are completely out of sync with the problems facing Americans. And you'll see far left Democrats who are disappointed that they're not going to pass trillions of dollars of social spending that no one needs and no one wants. All the while, he's going to continue losing more support amongst independent voters who what matter in elections, and whatever residual support he has amongst Republicans will evaporate into nothingness. So this is not a good strategy for Democrats. House Democrats in particular were encouraged by the DCCC chair to run as Biden Democrats. But I expect that we'll see, as Biden's approval rating, as Fox polling and elsewhere shows, he's going to be a dead weight for Democrats running for office around the country. So at some point, we'll probably try and see Democrats try and make some break from the administration. But they've already walked the plank for his most unpopular position. So I don't know how they'll be able to separate themselves from his very unpopular agenda.
Yeah, it's true. Matthew, it's great to catch up with you. Thanks very much. Matthew Foldi joining us this morning. Washington, a free beacon in D.C. Thank you, Matthew.